Welcome back to a new video. So this was my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday sessions. Went through, say not to be dramatic, but went through different emotions with the struggles on Saturday, and kind of just being frustrated that the 115s. I was hoping to do that for multiple singles, which is why I kept redoing it. Was able to make it once. This Friday session was just kind of because I felt pretty good, but worked up to I missed this 100, made it, then made 110, and then went up to 140 for a single. And I don't think this session necessarily impacted me terribly for the Saturday session, but I was really hoping to do 115 for multiple singles and 140 for multiple singles, which I ended up doing for the clean and jerk. So this clean and jerk that I did on this day was really ugly, if I remember correctly, but the ones I did the next day were good. But the snatches, I didn't have any misses until 115, then had some struggles there. So I'll probably try to keep the weight there because not only am obviously trying to get generally stronger, but trying to build that consistency in the technique with the heavier weights, especially on the heavier day. But at the end of the week, see, I did 200 kilograms for a set of 8, which is the most. The previous I had done before was for 7, and I kind of not directly predicted it the previous week, but when I did the set of 6 last Sunday, I remember talking about how I felt like I could have done another one and had a chance at doing 8, but would have been extremely difficult. And today it was kind of the same boat, but with rep 9 or 10. Definitely felt the technical breakdown as I got towards rep 5 or 6, but I was kind of in that mindset like we're just gonna grind through it and see if I can do the 8th one, see if I physically can do it, even if the technique if I pitch over too much or whatever with that. So definitely happy to be able to do that for 8. I wasn't able to get up to 15 total reps with 200. The set of 8, believe it or not, kind of gassed me, and was gonna potentially. I ended up with 12 because the second set I was like I was thinking about doing 4. I did the double, and I was just too fatigued from that set of 8, so I did a double and then repeated it for a second double. So I think next week I'll try to get closer to that 15 mark, but I think trying to just beat the total amount of reps that I'm doing for that first set, potentially going for a set of 10, but also just trying to accumulate, closer to 15 total will be good. But I mean, I'm getting closer to that. 200 for 10 would be really cool to do. I best right now is 195, and I remember doing that. That was something I had commented on. I think it was an Instagram post, but I said like 200 is the next step, and it's an interesting how well the reps have been going because in that kind of phase of training I was doing back then, I was doing reps for everything all the time, really high reps in squats and like 3 sets of 10 and 3 sets of 5, all of that, and then would just add in like a random AMRAP, which was fine and dandy, but it seems like doing the like one hard set and then just trying to accumulate a total amount of reps might be really good for me, if for nothing else other than just for the practice. But yeah, really happy with that. But on Sunday before I did the squats, decided to do some light snatch, clean and jerk, and doubles up to 80, and then a single at 90 and 100. My energy felt it was interesting. I felt not good. My energy was not good for weightlifting, but like I felt like I had the aggression, which uh, told me that I wasn't really going to be able to push crazy heavy in the snatch and clean jerk. And physically, my body didn't really want to, which makes logical sense because I went, relatively heavy the last 2 days. But I had the kind of aggression and the energy, so it told me that I had at least a decent chance of squatting well. For me, it's hard to always know that because like my left hip was still a little bit sore. It was a little bit generally sore from the previous days. But and honestly, like doing these snatches, I was like, my hip kind of hurts. And I was like kind of concerned that it was going to just be aggravated and not let me just do squats in general. But just kept doing the weights. I spent a lot of time warming up today, a lot of time stretching, a lot of time just doing air squats and stretching my back, and just throughout the day stretching. It's something I just need to be better at as well. Not just stretching at night, but just kind of just taking time. If you're sitting in a chair, stretching your hip and stretching my arms. Just doing little things like that throughout the day, and then having a longer stretching session at night. And I think that's something that is increasingly important as not only I get older, but just being a larger, being I was 238 this morning, so just having more mass in general just trying to be as flexible and mobile as I can at the larger body weight that I'm at will just be beneficial for the lifts. And I was trying really hard, so there's kind of the focus of the session for the snatches today was just trying to aggressively finish and turn over, and that part was feeling good. I just didn't feel, I don't know, it's hard to really describe. It's kind of like if you were to jump 3 times in a row at your maximum height, that third jump, you don't feel like you can't try hard, but like you don't have that energy for that like speed. But I don't know, they didn't feel slow though, but I just didn't feel like I probably could have done like 105 or 110, probably okay, but it would have definitely been a little bit of a struggle. And once I caught this 90 felt really good. I see here felt really good. And then the 100 wasn't the cleanest rep. You see it was a little bit forward. Hips were a little bit high. It's a little bit off, so it wasn't as clean as I wanted it. But I think for this week, to help accumulate more volume, I'm going to force myself to take smaller jumps in both the snatch and clean and jerk. But to start at 40 with a snatch and go 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then just take whatever or not whatever jumps, but like to keep going up if I want past that, but to accumulate. And you see the same thing with clean jerks here. I did clean front squat jerk to just 100, and then did 2 regular clean jerks with 110 and 120. The same kind of concept to not only accumulate more volume, but to accumulate more practice with the weights, to warm up more as I'm building up, and to get more technical practices. I think I already said that, but also practice to move faster. So it's essentially speed work as well. More practice and more practice with lighter weights to work on exerting force and just precision and stuff like that. And there are kind of some holds in the split as well. Wasn't really something I was 100% planning on doing, but it's kind of like sitting in the bottom of a snatch when you catch it. It's like it's never kind of a bad idea to do if you have the energy or if you're in the proper position for it. But these all felt pretty good. Left shoulder's a little bit sore, but logically makes sense just because of the heavy lifts of previous 2 days. And this 120, not the best clean, but it's 120, so it's not ever going to be that difficult for me. And the jerk I was happy with as well. So was happy with the session. I was happy with being more conservative with those weights, and not even because I knew I was going to do heavy squats, but just because it's Sunday. I don't need to be doing heavy snatch and clean jerk. I lifted heavy on Friday, lifted heavy on Saturday, so I need to have a day where it's not heavy. And I think having more of these snatch and clean jerk sessions during the week, or just having a couple of them, will be beneficial for technical development, speed development, and also just recovery in general. Here's the big set of 8. If you listen to it on the short or on Instagram, I was listening to the Space Jam song. I've been playing that at school when I'm teaching, and it's a really good song, frankly. I grew up with the original Space Jam and really liked the movie as a kid. And I mean, honestly, like that song is just good in general, even if I removed from the context of the movie. But I'm sure there's some emotional nostalgic connection to that movie and that song, but I still liked it. And that's how you can tell I like a song, if I can max out to it. If I don't like a song, I can't lift heavy to it most of the time. But at least I wouldn't choose to max out to it. And these are the 2 doubles I did after. And again, they moved a lot slower, of course, but they weren't terrible. But definitely felt significantly slower, just because I was so fatigued at that point. I'll be very curious if my hips feels aggravated like I did last week after doing squats tomorrow. Right now they feel fine. Like there wasn't any sort of, it actually felt better the more I was squatting, which was interesting. And even like clean jerks, it was a little bit achy, but it was nothing that progressively got worse. And that's usually how I assess if there's like an actual problem is like if I warm up and it feels fine, then that's not a problem. If I'm adding more weight and it's getting progressively worse, or I get up to whatever weight and it's really bad after doing a heavy weight or something, then I know I have some sort of problem. But it got better as I moved, and I didn't feel it at all on the 170 last warm-up set or for that set of 8. And obviously hitting that set of 8 was a lifetime rep PR. So if I was feeling any sort of negative feeling with that, I probably just wouldn't have been able to finish the full set, where I would have just been pushed out of position, or something would have went wrong as far as completing that set. So definitely a good indicator in that regard, that even if I'm not hitting the snatches that I want the previous day, that the squats are going well, which is always a good thing. Gonna make some adjustments to the program of the week and stuff like that. As I mentioned, kind of like rep schemes and the focus is on trying to get more lighter sets in as I'm building up to whatever working sets I'm going to be doing for that day. But just adjusting some of the exercise selections and some of the exercises during the week. So you'll see that as the week progresses with that, probably with a longer video like this, because it's frankly just a little bit easier just to make one longer video than to have multiple short ones, and at least it gives me more time to ramble a little bit. And I still go over the time of the video, but it is what it is. But also the Guardians clinched the AL Central, which is pretty cool. Cleveland Browns stuck, but that's that's been most of my life besides a couple of seasons. But I think it's the biggest comeback in MLB history. I think there were 15 and a half games back at one point and 11 games back in the beginning of September. So it's kind of cool to see. I mean, the Cincinnati Reds are also in the playoffs, so in theory they could both make the World Series, which would be a really cool one. But I suppose like if that unlikely event happened, I would try to go to a World Series game. But I doubt that would happen. I think that'd be a really cool thing to happen. But I'm not gonna hold my breath for something like that. But anywho, I've rambled on for enough. If you made it to this point, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Peace.